Hello and welcome back to Foos Entertainment. This time I will be reviewing Saw 4. Well, again, I am put into the position to where I originally hated this movie in, well, my opinion of Saw 4 has changed. I do remember that this movie took place at the same time as Saw 3 did. But what I like about the movie is that they do a really good job of sort of telling three stories at the same time. They tell you a sub-story that was happening during the events of Saw 3, and sort of a conclusion of that, as well as the backstory of Jigsaw and how he came to be the way that he is and why, which I thought was all very, very interesting. Alright, well, the premise of the story is pretty much this. This film takes place at the end of the movie, going backwards in a lot of ways. During the autopsy of Jigsaw's body, of John's body, they discovered that he swallowed a cassette tape when launched it into his stomach, swallowing it. And they give it to Detective Hoffman, who is our main character from Saw 4 throughout to Saw the final chapter. So it's supposed to be the final chapter, we'll just call it Saw 7. Because they did eventually bring Saw back with Jigsaw. But basically, it tells them you will be tested. We have no idea what that means at the time. The next thing we know it shows them finding the aftermath of one of the detectives who was slaughtered in the previous film for one of Amanda's traps, Carrie, who had been the leader of the task force hunting down Jigsaw from the very beginning in the first movie. And our SWAT commander, I forget his name, sorry, so let's just say that he is, oh no, never mind, Detective Rigg, yeah, SWAT Commander Rigg. He has been in all these movies too. He's the leader of the SWAT team that accompanies the task force to track down Jigsaw throughout these movies up to this point. Has an obsession with wanting to save everybody. And so Jigsaw put into motion a game to give him a test of redemption. Not really redemption. I say more of a test of acknowledgement to understand that you can't save everybody. And so basically, there's a few people that he wants him to save. Sorry about that. The cat was trying to knock over the tripod. It's alright, I fixed it. He was basically has to choose either to save or not save a series of people. The first one being the criminal. The second being a sex offender and abuser. And the third being a abusive teacher. He likes to abuse children. I believe he's the principal or teacher of a school, elementary school. And the problem with him is his obsession gets the better of him. He literally tries to save every single one of them, although Jigsaw says, "Do not save anyone." But he's so driven by his morality to save people that it consumes him. But basically, as he does this, he gets closer to finding the very much alive Detective Eric Matthews from the second movie. And Jigsaw said, follow the rules. He has to be there a certain time. He cannot divert from the rules and the plan. Meanwhile, there's a couple of detectives who are on pursuit of Rig after he goes missing. And they're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. We also find out about Jigsaw's backstory. We find out how he actually contracts all of these tools that he uses for his games. He's actually an architect. Basically meaning that he designs buildings, designs tools, all sorts of stuff. He's also a very wealthy man, which is how he can afford to do all this all the time. You also find out that he has a wife. And him and his wife opened up the health clinic, in which Amanda was actually a part of. And basically, well, actually, there's a little tease to part 5, actually. They didn't expose that in this movie. But that's okay. But basically, a health clinic for drug addicts that need to come off of drugs. Go for detox and stuff like that. You get, methadone or whatever. Well, one of them, on purpose, leaves their jacket in the clinic. And knocks to have his wife open the door and give him the jacket. The real motivation was to force her with a knife to open up the door so they can get their anti-drugs or drugs or whatever the drug addict needed. And on the way out on the run, pretty much slammed the door into her stomach area right here. And at the time, she was 7 months pregnant with a son. And the impact killed the son. And that's kind of what originally throwed John over the edge. After that, of course, his body fell on him. He got cancer. He tried to commit suicide. Then he started him in his work. His first victim actually was the guy who, coming off of drugs, killed his wife and his son. Killed his unborn son. And even then, he had a sense of morality on the fact that I want to teach people things. I don't want to actually kill him. But this guy, forced it, so he made a second trap for him. But it shows all that. Sort of the backstory, tell you John is, how he's able to do this stuff. And everything gets all linked together very nicely at the end of the film. Rig ends up getting fatally, definitely injured. Eric Matthews gets killed. And then we find out that the accomplice that these detectives were looking for is actually Detective Hoffman, which was the detective in charge of the entire Jigsaw task force in the first place. He leaves the leading detective was investigating all this from the FBI. Special Agent Strom is his name. Leaves him in a room to rot, and that's sort of how the movie ends. Now on to audio and video quality. This one actually has more of a neutral color temperature about it. You can't say it is warm or cool. It kind of goes more neutral the entire time, but it still has very much that digital look. So that's how that goes. As for the audio, the Dolby Digital 5.1 track is top-notch. It definitely has a lot of sound to offer. Effects are really, really well crafted in all cylinders. This is the first one to not be written in any shape or form from the writer of the first 3 Saw films, as well as the writer of all of the Insidious movies. He was responsible for the scripts and the stories for the first 3 films. This is the first one not to be written by him. Now, I'm sorry I don't really remember his name at the moment. It's a name I just don't remember. Despite how many of the movies that he's written that I've reviewed over the past couple of weeks, I still just don't really know his name. But, yeah. It was a pretty good watch. I remember hating this movie. And like I said, I'm rewatching these movies, getting in front of the camera, reviewing them. And it's interesting rewatching movies with a motivation to actually pay attention to everything, every detail of the movie. So I can talk about it and give people an idea about what to expect when it comes to watching these movies. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this review of Saw 4. I will see you next time for my review of Saw 5, which will not be that much later from now. I at least plan on watching Saw 5 pretty much right after this review. Probably watch Saw 6, 7, and Jigsaw tomorrow, though. It's just already tomorrow, so I guess it will be much later today. As always, subscribe. Give me a like, a dislike. Let me know if you like the movie or not. Share this video with friends. And come back to Food Entertainment for more. I am trying to very consistently make content for all of you to enjoy. And like I said, I am no longer limited to 15 minutes. Which means that when we get into more interesting movies that I will be reviewing over the next about 40 days, I will definitely be taking advantage of not being limited to 15 minutes. And it should be a lot of fun. Well, I'll see you next time.